Objects are variables that store multiple values. These values can be of different types like strings, numbers, or even booleans. The values stored in objects are stored in either properties or methods. We're going to have an example right now of a person type of object. So what we do when we start an object, we start in the same way we would any other type of variable. We start with the var keyword, then we have the name of the actual variable that we want to create. Ours is person, and we're using our assignment operator of equals. Now at this point we change and start doing object kind of notation because we start with curly braces, and inside of those curly braces now we can start listing our properties and properties and methods. Now the properties that we actually are just like variables. The only difference is how we're actually creating them. Let's create one for first name, right? First name. And instead of the equals here, we're going to put the colon, right? And in the same way we would store any other string, we're going to type in the first name of a person. And the difference here is instead of actually using a semicolon, we're going to use a comma for as many different properties as we're going to list, all except the last one, and we'll see that in a second. So I'm going to keep fleshing this guy out. Alright, we're going to give him an age, 21. And we're going to give him a marital status for our object. Now, in addition to properties, we can also do methods. Methods are just like functions, but they're functions that are within an object, right? So let's start creating a function. Now the difference here is instead of starting with the function keyword, we're going to start with the actual name of what we want the function to be. And we're going to have this function display the person's full name, right? And then our colon. And now we actually use our function keyword and our parentheses to let JavaScript know it's a function that we're creating, and then our curly braces to create our block, right? Our scope for what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to send something back whenever this is called, and that's going to be a return. And what it's going to return is something from this particular object that we're creating. So we're actually creating an object called person, and the this in this particular case is going to refer back to this. So that way, if there's a property in here that we want to access inside of this function, we use the this keyword to reference the function, and then we use dot notation just by adding a dot, and then we can list out the properties. The properties are listed here. Now what I want to do is I want to grab his first name, and I want to add his first name and last name together to give it a full display name, right? So I use my addition operator here, right, to be able to add two different strings together. That's concatenation, and then our last name. And now we have an object. We're going to end this off with a semicolon, and now we have a person object that supplies a first name, a last name, an age, and a marital status, and it also displays a full name whenever we need to. We can actually create other functions to do other things, or other methods to provide other information about the actual person. But for now, that's the basics of an object inside of JavaScript.